Alright, it's Friday, May 23rd. Let's talk PlayStation. A lot of good, interesting stuff to cover this week, so let's get right into it. Amplitude, the Kickstarter, has been fully funded. $775,000 has been reached, so the game is officially coming to PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. Moving on to Minecraft, I know everybody keeps asking me about it. Now I got some real good info to actually share with you guys. PS4 and Vita versions of Minecraft are coming in August. No exact date, but August. The PlayStation 3 and Vita version are cross-buy. You own the PS3 version right now, you're getting the Vita version for free. Or if you pay $15 for the Vita version when it comes out, you're getting the PS3 version for free. The Vita version and PS3 version, their worlds can transfer. The saves can transfer, so that's all good there. PlayStation 4 version, if you own the PS3 or Vita version, you can pay $5 to upgrade to the PlayStation 4 version. PS3 and Vita worlds can go over to the PlayStation 4 world, but PS4 worlds can't go backwards. And that's also because that when you're importing a world into the PS4 world, the world actually expands. It gets bigger. If you choose to not buy the PS3 and Vita version and just buy the PS4 version, that's going to cost you $20. And Sony and Mojang and 4J are currently looking into how to upgrade, if you buy the Blu-ray disc of PS3, how they can sort of authenticate that to give you an upgrade price for the PS4 version. So if you remember a while ago, we talked about Metro Redux and how there was a little rumor that Metro 2033 and Last Light were going to be remastered on PS4 and X1. Well, that is now official. Both games will be sold separately digitally, or you can buy both of them in the boxed set, and they are of course getting the expected resolution and frame rate bump up to 1080p and 60 frames per second. Thus continuing the trend for previous generation titles getting remastered to this gen. Moving on, Little Big Planet Vita developer Tarsier Studios has announced a new PS4 game called Hunger. Apparently it is a surreal third-person stealth game coming for PS4, and that's about all we know, but it's from Tarsier Studios. They did Little Big Planet Vita, so color me intrigued. This next news story I'm super pumped about, but Singstar is officially coming to the PlayStation 4. Huge Singstar fan over here. Yeah, if you didn't know, I love singing, so I'm pumped about this one. Singstar coming to the PS4, and there's going to be a Singstar app coming to smartphones, so you can actually use your smartphone to act as a microphone. So you wouldn't actually need a physical microphone if you don't have one, so a Singstar app would be on PS4. Download the app on your smartphone, you're good to go. There's also talks of a Singstar Ultimate Edition for European markets that would include around 30 of the best songs, or favorable songs of past games. As expected, Sony is going to be expanding upon the Singstar universe. You've got the Singstar store, you can download all those songs and all that, and they'll be expanding on, that sort of online community that's built up on Singstar. If you don't know, Singstar has a full-on kind of Facebook, YouTube community where you can upload videos and upload pictures and all that if you've got a PlayStation camera connected and everything. Super cool stuff. I'm a huge fan of Singstar, so I cannot wait to play it on PS4. So more than likely, this may have already happened to you. You may already know about this, but the PlayStation Now beta has now rolled into the PlayStation 4, and Sony has sent a bunch of new invites out to people, letting more people in that private beta and letting people, use PlayStation Now on PS4. The catalog's been updated with new games, and the beta is just moving right along. And the private beta will soon become an open beta later on this summer, which, we're getting down to the wire here, really. We only got a few more months to go until this thing actually should be fully launched. But looks like the thing's moving right along. And as expected, because I would tell you, I still don't have a code for the damn thing. I think Sony knows I have this channel, and they don't want me to have a code. So you know what, guys? You know what? I was gonna say something mean, but I don't think I'm gonna. Alright, this next news story, I honestly don't even think I should put in here because I'm kind of reading it as fake, but it just happened a few hours ago, so I really don't have this news story. This news story doesn't have a lot of time to grow for me to analyze and see if it's, if I should talk about it or not. But I'm going to talk about it anyway because there is some still technical fact to this, which is that Take-Two recently, you can already see the little picture I've displayed, so you're like, whoa, but Take-Two has placed a trademark for the cities word. Or City Stories, more or less. They placed a trademark for City Stories. And if you don't know, Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories, Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories, the ending of those two games kind of hints at the fact that we could possibly see a Grand Theft Auto City Stories game come out for the PlayStation Vita, because again, that's a name that they've currently used and associated with some PSP games, so it'd be a no-brainer, and you're possibly thinking, hey, maybe it's a Vita game. And we all know we would love a Grand Theft Auto game. Now, where this picture comes from, and where this one comes from, which I'm going to show on the screen right now, is somebody in the IGN comments of the article posting about, talking about the trademark. Some guy was like, yeah, Rockstar tweeted this, and then they deleted it. And that's like the only source it came from. And then some dude below, which is still a guest profile, posted this picture, which is the official box art, apparently. Man, I'm explaining this one poorly. But basically, one guy in the IGN comments posted these two pictures that I showed you, and what the picture is of is a remastered version of Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories for PS Vita. Of course, the tweet does not exist, and there's only that picture I showed you, and then this picture right here, which is from one guy in the IGN comments. Apparently, these pictures are from somebody on Reddit, which you can't even find on Reddit anymore. So I'm very inclined to say this is bullshit, which is why I was telling you earlier, like, I don't know if I should have talked about this. I would have liked to let this story bake a little bit more before I talked about it, but the Take-Two thing is real. Take-Two did place a trademark for City Stories, which is probably them just protecting their trademark and their IP. That could be it, or they definitely could be preparing for something. Regardless of what is or isn't true, this is of course interesting because, like I just said, I would love a Grand Theft Auto game on Vita. I'm sure a bunch of people would. If this is actually real, it's good and bad. Good because I would totally play these games remastered. I'm sure a bunch of people would. But it's bad because I would have loved a original Grand Theft Auto game on Vita. Or hell, I would have loved San Andreas Stories on Vita. That would have been kick-ass. If this is true, like, yeah, it's cool, but maybe this is Rockstar testing the waters of how much money they can make on Vita. Surely Rockstar would have a small team be working on this. They wouldn't have their core huge, their vast sea of employees working on this game. Maybe by the time I upload this video, this will all be irrelevant and debunked or something, because I record these Thursday nights and then I spend an hour or two to edit them, and then I upload them until they're ready for Friday morning. So Fridays are usually a hot day for game news, so who knows, by the time I upload this, it'll all be irrelevant. Which, by the way, if you haven't already been able to tell, I certainly do get worried sometimes when I record these things, because it's always like, well, I really do them Thursday nights, so it's like when they go up Friday morning, what if a huge news story breaks Friday morning and my video that I just posted doesn't even cover it, and I have to wait a whole week to talk about it again? I always get a little nervous about that, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see on this one, but I think it's kind of, it's pretty sketchy that this one guy in the comments is like, oh yeah, there's a tweet. Oh yeah, this guy on Reddit. Maybe it's true, I don't know. I never know for a fact. Anyway, moving on to our next news story. Sony has filed registration for a new PlayStation 4 and a new PlayStation 3. Immediately you're like, whoa, a new PS3 and a new PS4. Like, are the Slims coming already? Is the PS3 getting redesigned already? Hold the phone right there. Usually you can tell if it's going to be a major hardware redesign or if it's just an internal redesign, like changing some of the parts. And from the serial numbers that were given on the site of registration, it looks like it's just going to be an internal change. So as the consoles grow, as they've always grown over time with even, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, everything, parts become cheaper. Sometimes they'll just lower the size of certain parts in the machine so it can use less power, or because they're just cheaper and more readily available, or there's different sets they can use to lower down costs. Things like that, really. This does not indicate a major change in the PlayStation 4, but more so just an internal change that would probably benefit Sony for a higher profit. Alright, so E3 is getting closer and closer, and of course those gosh darn industry insiders keep running their mouths about all these vague things because they're insiders and they want to say things but not really tell you it straight up. One rumor that was flying around this past week is that the PlayStation 4 is going to be getting a huge performance boost. Insiders like Tdix, Shinobi, and Thuwei and all those guys were talking about how more or less there is a PlayStation 4 performance boost coming, and even they were talking about how Sony's ICE team is, you know, of course, responsible for this. Now, if you don't know, Sony has a programming team called the ICE team, and what they do is kind of develop new tools and SDK for the PlayStation 4 or any new, you know, current PlayStation hardware to make it easier to develop for, kind of optimize the platform and make future games on it better. So, that's more or less what they're saying is going to happen very soon. Now, the thing about this rumor, and it is a rumor because these are industry insiders, and you know they're never going to straight up tell you, and Sony will never straight up tell you this either because they've never made announcements like, oh, PS3 is more powerful now, or oh, we've made a new SDK for the PS2 or anything. That's not news. That's not something that gets delivered to everyday people. That's not something the PlayStation blog posts about. But whether this rumor is or is not true, it more or less will be true at some point because that's exactly what happens. And we've talked about this many times before when we are on the topic of just the PS4 hardware in general, or how it compares to X1 and this whole resolution frames per second bullshit thing. No matter what, the PS4 is going to get more powerful. It is going to get more optimized. When I say more powerful, I don't mean like, you know, like they're going to actually change the hardware, but like that's how consoles, you know, which are set hardware, they never change really. That's how console games get better looking over the course of its time, its life. That's why a launch game looks nothing like an end cycle game. Compare Resistance Fall of Man to Uncharted 3 and you're thinking, wow, that's quite a drastic change. Right now, games look fantastic, right? But that's what really excites me about the end of PlayStation 4 5 years from now, how great games are going to look, because that's exactly what's going to happen. The SDK is going to improve. The console is going to get optimized. Sony will unlock more power of the hardware. Developers will find more tricks and ways to, you know, kind of get around the bottlenecks of the hardware, because, you know, a PC, for example, is an open platform. You can do whatever you want with it, and then a person playing on a PC can, you know, kind of optimize it however their rig is. But for, you know, a console, you got to, for developers, they got to take certain, you know, they got to take a different route. So that's exactly what's going to happen over the next 5 years of PS4. Infamous Second Son came out like, you know, how many weeks ago now? But I still think that game is gorgeous. Like, that game looks so good. So, like, I'm really excited for what, like, PS4 games are going to look like how many years from now. I'm legitimately really pumped about that. Alright, that concludes this episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. Hey, I finally have a new review out, because I haven't done one of those in forever. The God of War Vita Collection, check that out. This week, I will be posting a little video demonstration of Vita TV remote play with PlayStation 4, because now the Vita TV can do that. They just released a firmware update for that, so I'll do a little demonstration of that you can check out later. I will probably be posting this new series that I've been wanting to do for a while, either this week or next week, I'm not sure, but keep an eye out for that. Anyway, that concludes this week's episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. I'm Ryan Benecki. Thank you so much for talking with me, and I'll see you all next Friday. Why are you still watching?